We're sitting here with the legendary Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross. Man, I can't tell you how excited I've been to do this interview, man. You know, somebody like me, I grew up in this area, and when I was a kid, and growing up, man, you were a legend. Yeah. A legend. And my wife, my kids, everybody, I've been jonesing about this interview because, wow. you know, you're my hero, Rick. So let's kind of go into, you know, talk about your upbringing and who Rick Ross is and the real Rick Ross and the beginnings.
Well, you know, I was brought up in South Central as well. Moved to L.A. when I was about 3, getting ready to turn 4 years old, and been there ever since, except when I went to prison. You know, they took me out for a while. But you know, I look at myself just like a normal dude, man. I ain't nothing special, man. Just want to make life better, not only for myself but for others as well. And that's really how I have been able to get all my success, you know, is because with me, it's not just the individual, it's the whole group, you know. How is this going to benefit the body and not just one organ of the body? Because if everybody is not eating and thriving, the body's not working properly. So that kind of gives you a quick summary of, you know, who I am, you know, where I grew up at, and, you know.
Let's kind of talk about, you know, growing up in L.A. and how you got into the dope game.
Well, you know, I was kind of lucky, right? Because a lot of the guys that I went to like elementary school with and junior high school with are dead or doing a lot of time. Matter of fact, my best friend in elementary school, probably from like the 5th grade up until the 7th grade when he went to juvenile hall, just got out from doing like 38 years, you know. So when I look back at my life, you know, I only could say I was treading water, you know. I was lucky when I got to be 12 years old, I was introduced to tennis, and that took me in a different direction because at a younger age, I wanted to be a Crip, just like my friend who just got out from doing 38 years in prison, Baby Bam. But fortunate for me, somebody put a tennis racket in my hand, and that kind of allowed me to be steered in a different direction. And but that still kept my street cred even after I went through the tennis cycle. I started playing tennis, like I said, around 12, and I played up until 18 years old, the last year of high school, when it was discovered that I couldn't read, couldn't write, and that I wouldn't be going to college. I found myself slipping back into South Central Los Angeles, starting to reacquaint myself with people that I used to be around, and start to do the things that they were doing.
So tennis is not like AAU basketball, huh? Like, so, you know, AAU basketball, I see kids have, you know, the education, you know, they're not getting the education, but somehow they make it to college and get through college. I guess the tennis ain't like that, huh?
Well, no, you know, most tennis players are pretty intelligent. I don't know where I missed out on the education part. But you know, basketball, they play 1 year and they end in the league.
Yeah.
But now that I look back at my life, I see how I could have made it, because you know, I go speak at colleges now, and I got the same background. I can read now, but they don't know that. Yeah. But that's one of my things when I go out and speak to the colleges, is that, you know, I couldn't get in here under their documentation as a student, but they'll pay me $5,000 to come here and speak. So it's just another testament of how if you be determined and stay focused, doors will open up for you. that seem almost impossible to open.
So you're in LA, you know, you start, you know, you don't make it to college because of the grades and stuff, and you start getting into the drug gang.
Street life. Because it wasn't a drug game at first. It started off real subtle, you know, just the first thing I did is I started hanging out with my old buddies and going to the street races where they were low riding and people were smoking weed and chicks and you know, and I was like, wow, I've been missing this. For me, it was exciting. You know, you talking about you pretty much got a guy that's a square, a nerd, and now they go from being a nerd to low riding and convertible cars and Parliament Funkadelics and you know and Rick James and like this a whole nother world, you know.
Yeah.
Where have I been? And for me, it was I felt like an eye opener, you know, like I've been tripping, chasing this tennis ball, and these guys got these pretty cars and these pretty girls, and I was like, man, this is where I want to be anyway. Yeah. That's why I played tennis so hard, because that's what I was trying to get to. So when I saw it, it was like a match made in heaven.
Yeah. And so so tell me your first experience in the dope game.
My first experience, well, really my first experience was the movie Superfly.
Okay.
And a lot of people may not understand how that could be your first experience when you can't touch it, you can't. But the movie Superfly gave me a concept, a feeling, hope, the possibility. You know, when I saw this brother beat the man at their own game, you know, and you know, I've been low riding, so you know, if you low ride, the police gonna treat you like a third or fourth class citizen. You know, sit on the ground, don't move, lay on the ground. They don't care what you wearing. You know, you could be wearing like your best clothes. You know, because when you low ride, you gonna put on your best pants and your best shoes, and you trying to style and profile, and they would tell you to get on the ground. So when I go see this movie Superfly, and I'm like, wow, this dude beat the man. You know, and one of the scenes in Superfly I never forget, the guy is going through Superfly bag looking for the money, and he pulling out his dirty clothes, and he say, trying to do my dirty clothes, I ain't gonna say you fuck with me and you dead. I was like, wow, he did that, you know. So me coming from the South, you know, where blacks still had to say yes sir and yes ma'am to whites, was like, that's the life I want. You know, that's the life I wish I had. And it's funny the way the mind works. You know, when I went to prison and I learned how to read and write, I started to find out that we can attract the things that we want through our thinking and through our attitude. And
law of attraction is the secret.
That's what they call it, the law of attraction. Yeah. So a couple years later, I'm sitting on my mom's porch, and my boy called me, and he's playing football for college up in San Jose, and he was like, man, come by the house, I got the new thing. And when I go by his crib, he lays out these white lines, and I was like, wow, that looked like the stuff was in Superfly. So it was a little yellower than what I thought it should have been, you know, because I had never seen it in person. I just saw it on the screen. So on the screen, it looked white, and this was yellow. And he was like, man, go ahead, take a snort. And for me, it was something totally new. I'd never drunk a beer, had never smoked a cigarette or a joint or nothing. And but this was my boy, though, you know, this my man. Yeah. And he's saying it was cool, and then he hit it up his nose a couple times, and then I was like, I hit it too, bam, bam, man. And I was like, wow. And he gave me a piece to try out and see if I could sell it. And man, I went around and asking everybody. Nobody knew what it was. And then finally I ran into a pimp on Fig, and He told me it was coke and it was good. My career was started.
So the career starts, and how did it escalate to the point where you were making more money in a day than 20 people make in a lifetime?
It started off slow, man. I still don't know what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm peddling around. Martin the pimp, who told me it was cocaine, he wound up beating me out of the piece I had. But the good thing is that he came back later on that day and he had somebody with him, which was Big Mouse. Big Mouse had $100, so he wanted to spend 100. So even though I had lost technically what Mike had gave me, because I gave it to Martin, well, Martin smoked it on credit. I didn't give it to him. He smoked it on credit, but he bought somebody back that was gonna spend $100. So I called Mike and told him, man, I got somebody over here that want to spend $100. That other piece you gave me, my dude gonna pay us Friday. See, I didn't even know about the loan game, man. I had never loaned nothing in my life, you know. I ain't never had nothing to loan, so I couldn't have loaned it. But that was my first lesson in the loan game. And I never thought about that until today, you know, sitting here talking to you. That was the first time I ever loaned anything, other than probably my brothers loaning them a pair of my pants, you know, because we used to flip-flop pants and shoes around the house, you know, so we didn't wear the same thing every day. So
at that point, was it chopped up into crack, or was it still just cocaine?
It was still cocaine. They was cooking it, though. They were already cooking it. They were ether basing, and a few people were putting baking soda on it already, too. At that time, they were still trying to decide, was ether better than baking soda? You know, it's like, baking soda, ether. No, baking soda. I can cook it better with ether. I can cook it better with baking soda. So it was going through that little transition where baking soda was starting to take the market away from ether.
So I saw you post something like crack cocaine came from UCLA.
We saw that somewhere on the study where they were talking about it.
So when you were introduced to it, crack was already
on the streets. It was
already on the streets.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't invent crack.
Yeah.
Everybody would say I invented crack. I didn't invent crack. No. What I probably did was made it really attractive.
Uh-huh.
You know, when you put it beside this face here. Yeah, no, I probably made it attractive, you know, to the younger generation. Because when I first started, all the guys were older than I was. And what I did was turn all my young homies on, you know, so they were younger than me. And once people started to see us with all the toys and the gadgets, you know, they wanted a piece of it.
Mm-hmm. And kind of explain how you got to the point with this big connection, making all this money, you know. Was that in your game plan? Did you say,
nah,
you know, Rick, I'm gonna be the biggest, and you know?
Well, you know what? I said that a few times, you know, to my brothers. I would be in the garage, you know, and I felt like, you know, talking shit and bragging, and I would be like, man, I could take over this cocaine business. And at that time, I think I might have been buying $300 worth of coke. So my game plan was to get in, and $5,000, I probably would have felt like I took over. I wanted to get in, make $5,000, and get out. You know, that was my plan. But it's funny about the drug business, you know, like when you get 5,000, it gets easier to make 500. And when you get 10,000, it gets easier to make 1,000. And when you get 50,000, it's easy to make 10,000. And because what I found out is I started to make my money work for me, you know, and not just myself working. So my business just started to pick up gradually. You know, it wasn't like I started, and 3 weeks later, I'm moving, $1 million worth of dope. No, that didn't happen. My business started off really slow. First week, maybe $20, $30 sometimes. But I stayed down. I started to understand the concept of staying down. Not taking your money and go buy a car or some new clothes, but to keep recycling your money back into the drugs. As soon as I got money, I would go trade the money for drugs. As soon as I got drugs, I'd trade it for money. And really, I was just the middle guy who took a percentage out of all these different deals.
So what's the most amount of money you made in one day?
3.2 million, maybe a little more. Yeah, maybe a few thousand more.
What does 3.2 million look like?
Well, you got to realize in drug money, it's mostly 20s. 20s would be the most bill. And then next would probably be 10s, and then 50s, and then 5s, and then 100s would be next. So you're talking about a nice pile of money. 10,000 and 10s would probably be about like that. And I ain't held them in a long time. You know what I'm saying? 10,000 and 10s and 5s might have been like this here. So it's a pretty big pile. I would say, I'd have money standing about this high off the ground and probably about that wide. And that's how I would get my prices. I would pile my money up in the living room, and then I would just call the suppliers over to let them see the money, and they would come by and they'd be like looking at it like, how much is it?
Wow. Like, I mean, that much money, did you ever say like one day, like, all right, today's it. I got 20 million in the backyard. Like, you can have this, take it over. And
I mean, what happens in the drug business is as a dealer, you become addicted too, and you start to enjoy it. I mean, just everything about it just gets exciting, like when you go pick up 100 kilos and you got 4 cars and y'all ducking through traffic and you looking for the helicopter and you checking for cops and your adrenaline is like racing like, I can't lose this one.
Yeah.
I got to get this one to the stash spot.
Yeah.
So it all of that, and even though the adrenaline is a negative adrenaline, but you enjoy it. You feed off of it. You feel like when you pull up into that driveway where the stash spot is, you're like, I beat him again. I did it again. Probably would be almost equivalent to a guy that's taking a jump shot at the end of the game,
Yeah.
The game is on the line, and he gets the ball in his hand. His heart is probably bumping fast. He's nervous, like, I got to make this shot. Probably the same type of feeling.
Yeah.
I ain't never been in a position where I get to take that shot. Yeah, I guess I have. That's how I got locked up again. I was taking that shot.
Yeah. So speaking of that, so you got caught, went to prison, and then you came back out and you were gonna try to go the straight and narrow.
Yeah. I came up with a plan in prison, and I know I could have went straight, right? I know if they would have left me alone, that I could have did all right, but law wouldn't have it. They start dingling that cocaine in front of me. Hey. And it almost felt like, man, I fell asleep behind the wheel. You know how you driving and then you wake up, you're like, what the?
Yeah.
I done had a wreck.
Yeah.
Literally, same feeling, man. I woke up, I was sitting in MCC San Diego, like, what the fuck, am I doing here? The first day was like the worst day of my life, Now I got to call my mama, who I told I ain't get back in the game no more. My kids, you know, I didn't call my kids for months. You know, 'cause I was embarrassed, you know, that I had promised them, you know, like, oh, Daddy gonna be here. You know, Daddy gonna be picking you up from school. We're gonna be playing tennis. You know, we're gonna be doing the daddy and child thing. So when you're back in prison, and this time I'm in here for life, I knew the day I went to jail that's what I was facing. You know, wasn't no misconceptions. You know what I'm saying? No, I knew what I was looking at. You know, I knew I was looking at a life sentence without the possibility of parole. So,
but in all fairness to you, I mean, it kind of looked like entrapment. You know, it was kind of looked like.
Oh, definitely, definitely. You know, I learned about entrapment. You know, while I was there, I studied entrapment cases, and you know, one of the things that I always said I wanted to do was I wanted to fix the entrapment law. Yeah. You know, because it has some faults with it. You know. And but definitely entrapment, because I was not thinking about selling drugs before he came and gave me the opportunity. Because the way the law is written is that the government is totally legal to give you an opportunity that you already want to take. Yeah. So who can say that you wanted to take the opportunity before they gave it to you? And then they got this other law called predisposition. And so what the jury has to find out is, was you predisposed? You know, and most people don't even know what predisposed is. So, but I can give you a quick definition if you.
Yeah, give us a definition.
Well, predisposed mean that if not the government came and tempted you, would you have sold drugs prior to them coming and talking to you? So they got to show that prior to the government coming talking to you, you had already made up your mind that you were going to get in the drug business, or that you was already selling drugs. And the problem is, though, for a jury, you know, and I totally understood my jury's position, is that here you are, a major drug dealer, and you want to convince a jury that you didn't want to sell drugs. Impossible. So it's hard for a person with my background and has made as much money as I made in the drug business to win on an entrapment defense. Even under the targeting, you know, where like they deliberately make you a target for a sting, even if they know you're not selling drugs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I watched everything and looked at everything, that's just, you know, everybody has an opportunity and the right to, you know, you make a mistake, go back out there and be the person you want to be.
Man, but I said the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, when I was sitting in that jail, I was like, didn't I deserve a right to at least try to make it on my own? Yeah. You know, without your interference, because technically what they do is that's running interference, you know. And I thought it should have been against the government's policy to run interference on somebody that's already on paper, you know. Like, how could you go? I mean, you know how crazy that would sound if a guy had got out of prison for shooting people, and then the government come to him and say, "Oh, here's a gun, go and shoot somebody." Yeah, yeah. Just to make an arrest, you know, it's retarded. Manufacturing crime is what it is.
So talk about how you beat. I don't want to say beat, but you know, you got a life sentence and you're able to get out.
Well, one of the things that they did is they charged me with 851, career criminal. And in my case, I'd only been to jail one time in my life, even though I had made deals with multiple courts. It still was considered as one conviction. Mm-hmm. So once I showed that I'd only been to jail one time, that I never got out, then it was an easy reversal for the appeals court. Yeah. Basically, what it is that in order to get the 851 to be a career criminal, you have to have been chastised and showed your faults. And then after you've been done that, to then commit that same crime again, then you could be considered a two-striker. In my situation, they arrested me. They took me from state to state. I'd already pled guilty to one. I made a deal, so they agreed to run the time concurrent with the other ones, and I said, do it.
So you get out of jail, Rick, and or prison, excuse me, and you hit the streets. And
running.
Hit the streets running. When did you find out there was a rapper who took your name?
I was in Texarkana, man, when I first found out about dude using my name. I had a book club while I was there, so this youngster brought me a magazine, and they had the guy on there with his mouth open and all these gold chains and a beard, you know, and he was saying that his name was Rick Ross, and I was like, what? So I reached out to him, you know, like, man, who know this dude? And finally I caught up with him in New York at one of my partners' magazine. One of my partners was writing for this magazine, and he was like, man, dude gonna be in my office Monday. Call me at 10 o'clock and 9 o'clock, whatever. I don't remember the time, but whatever time it was, he called me, he gonna be here. I just handed him the phone. So he did that. And I tried to rap to him, you know, and see where his head was at, and see if we could come up with some energies, you know, because I knew what I was gonna do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he faking the funk. Like, I ain't gonna be faking the funk. I'm gonna be serious with this thing. So we talked, and he sold me a bunch of lies and faultition. And I should have known, though. You know, anybody would name themselves after another man. You know, it got to be some loose screws in there somewhere. You know.
Yeah.
You know, go out and earn your own reputation. You know, be who you are. You know. Earn your stripes. We don't get stripes away around here. They earned.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, but anyway, we rapped, and eventually I sued him, you know. I thought I could get some of Universal's money or Warner Brothers' money, one of them, you know. Thought I could tap into their bank account. So I tried it, you know, gave it a shot. I lost in court, and, you know, after I lost, I said, you know what? Don't be a sore loser. Reach out to him again.
Yeah, yeah.
See if y'all can put some things together, because you still got game, you know.
Yeah.
I did that, and he went on the Breakfast Club and called me an informant, and well, he got his on the internet. They gave it to him, you know. A bunch of the OGs defending me. I didn't have to defend myself, you know. They became my lawyer.
Yeah.
And defended me. So. I really don't even think about that dude.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's so minute in my world that, and I think he's even fading off in the regular world. I know when I got out of prison, you know, that's all you heard on the radio. I couldn't help but listen to him, and now I'd probably have to search to hear him. Yeah. You know, if I wanted to. So he's really minute in my world. You know, a non-factor. Only time I would talk about him is, you know, when I'm doing interviews, or if I go to a school and some kid would come up to me and say, why you name yourself Rick Ross? And I'd be like, I don't know. I'm going to give you my mama's number and you call and ask her. So, you know, I got so much other stuff going on right now. My plate is like full. You see my stomach starting to swell up, man.
Yeah, I mean, like somebody like him, you know, I mean, you know, slide the big homie like $1 million or $2 million, and then
if you can, I mean, if you broke, just say it. You know? Don't fake it. Hey, don't fake it. Just tell everybody, man, I'm broke. I can't get nothing. You know. But I'm good though. I mean, I don't need. I mean, it would have been cool, you know, when I got out. You know, like he said on the radio, I was down on my luck. Yeah. You know, he said that on the radio. Oh, yeah, he was down on his luck, and so he wanted to sue me. And yeah, that's kind of where it was, you know. I was, you know, just getting out of prison after 20 years, you know. Things wasn't going well. I didn't even have a job, you know, no job, no car, you know, just reestablishing myself. And it would have been all right if he would have came and said, look, man, you know, you did a lot for me, you know. Yeah. I don't know where I would be at if I wasn't Rick Ross. I would have respected that.
Yeah, you gotta pay homage. I mean, especially if you're gonna name yourself after somebody.
I mean, you should. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, but you should. You know, if you have any street about you, you know, you give a care package. You know, dude come to prison, you know, fresh off the street, he ain't got his money yet, because you know when you get to prison, they don't have your money on your book, so you gotta wait a week or two before you get your bread. So you know, everybody put together and get your care package. Here, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
that's on us.
Yeah, I mean, even if, like, let's say he didn't have the money, just like there's things he could have probably did to help facilitate, you know, income streams with you. You know,
oh, no doubt, no doubt. What about a job? You know, like, man, you done did so much for me, man. I'm gonna go talk to your PO and talk about you going on tour with us. You know, you carry the drum machines, or the speakers, or the suitcases, or whatever. You know, but we want to give you an opportunity, you know. I mean, that's what it used to be in the old days. You know, these new cats, these new millionaires, or the new, you know, the new dons. They don't really see it like that. You know, they don't give hands up. You know.
And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you next. I mean, what's your opinion on, you know, like you hear so much about these rappers, and they glorify like they're this lifestyle, right? They're this gangster, this you know, they did all this stuff, and people buy into it, and then you find out they really, you know,
college kids.
Yeah, college kids buy in.
Master degree.
Yeah, like and they never did what they say they did, or but they're, you know, and this is where
they rode in a car with somebody who rode with the guy who did it.
Yeah. And when I interview, like, I'll give you an example, like Tekashi 6ix9ine, like when I'd interview a lot of the Bloods from Los Angeles, you know, they were really upset. You know, he's out there, you know, claiming to be a Blood, but he's got rainbow hair and, you know, this and that, and he's not articulating the blood culture as it should be and how it has been. And a lot of people have died for that cause. No doubt. And this guy is just out there flaunting it, getting paid, and just being disrespectful. I mean, what's your opinion on, like, the hip-hop industry today with...
Well, you know, the labels are not really looking for real gangbangers. You could believe that. They're looking for the guy who can pass, you know, for the image, and who has the style and technique to move the mass, you know. And unfortunately, that's just the way the game is. You know, it's not about being authentic or doing what you say you did. It's not about that. It's about can you move the crowd? You know, will the crowd move when you move? You know, and I think that's pretty much what's happening throughout the whole industry. You know, most of these guys are not really gangsters at all. They just talk about gangsterism, and you know, they grew up in these areas. You know, their first heroes was probably drug dealers. You know, it probably was a drug dealer that bought them their first drum machine or paid their studio costs. I mean, where else did they get the money from? You know, mama didn't give it to them. She was on welfare. So a lot of times, these are the people who are supporting their careers and help them get in the position that they're in.
What's your opinion on the new legislation on the crack sentences?
Nonviolent drug offenders.
Nonviolent, that's what it is.
Letting them out early. I'm with it, man. I got friends still in there, good people, you know, who practice the drug business like a business. You know, matter of fact, Big Ted just got out. Big Ted was up at Lompoc with me. Man, Ted might have did 40 years. I spoke to him on the phone a couple days ago. He's home. So I'm excited about the new law, and hopefully it'll go far. You know, Trump is doing what Obama should have did. You know, he should have let more people out of prison than he did.
Yeah. And that law to begin with, I mean, handing out stiffer sentences for crack versus cocaine.
Yeah.
where it's derived from the same substance, basically.
Only thing difference is baking soda.
Is baking soda, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. We all knew that was racist, and I was fortunate enough to get the guy who wrote the bill up for the Senate on my documentary. So he spoke on my documentary about how when the Senate asked him to write the bill up, he knew that it was racially motivated.
What's your opinion on George Bush Sr. dying?
We lost one of the biggest trappers in the world, Yeah, Mr. Bush was, he did his thing, He got himself in one of the highest positions in the country and was able to do whatever he wanted to do, along with Ronald Reagan and Ali North. They really changed the face of America.
Yeah. So no love lost there?
No
love lost there with George Bush, Sr.?
Oh, no, we cool. I mean, he should have gave me a pardon, He gave Oliver North one. I don't know why he wouldn't, reach back and throw one, to the brother, man. I guess I was supposed to get an Illuminati, I guess. I don't know.
And he's a native of Compton, man. So, they
George Bush is a native of Compton?
Yes.
No.
George Bush lived in Compton.
What year?
I think it was back, I want to say in the...
When
they had the Watts riots in the 60s.
That was the 60s, yeah.
So probably, I think in the 50s maybe, when it was predominantly white.
Yeah, had to be. Yeah. Had to be.
Yeah, he's a native of Compton.
Wow.
So you got this new book coming out called The 21 Keys to Success.
Yeah,
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, my first book is out too. Freeway Rick Ross. Been doing pretty good with it. I wrote that while I was in prison. I was sitting in prison and I was like, wow, what can I do for the youngsters out there on the street? And teach them everything you know. So I started trying to pick my brain and just put it down in form, and the book came out. The 21 Keys to Success came from me and a friend of mine had started communicating while I was in prison, and I told him about my 3 favorite books, and I said, here, man, get these 3 favorite books and check them out. So he read the books, and then he was like, man, when you come home, I want to shoot you for my magazine. My magazine is Get Money Magazine. You should be on the cover. Nobody better than you should be on the cover. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So we did the article, and me and him got pretty tight. And I stayed in New York about 4 days. The magazine is based out of New York. And so when I get ready to ride, he was like, man, I had a good time while you was out here, man, but I want to come to L.A. and just kick it. So he came to L.A. For 6 months, and during the 6 months, he documented my interactions on the street and in Hollywood and, in the entertainers' offices and everything. He just documented it. And he came up with the book idea, and when he gave me the idea, I just fell in love with it. I thought it was brilliant.
So that comes out on your birthday, right? January 26th?
Yeah, I'm doing some crazy stuff, man. I'm always trying to come up with some crazy ideas to bless myself and to bless everybody else. So right now I got kind of like a bid going on for people who want to throw me a birthday party in their city.
Oh, okay.
We're going to do the books and the birthday party at the same time. I already got, I think, like 3 locations are already committed, waiting on their deposits to come in. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to go from city to city, like 5, 6 cities, and just throw parties and have fun and sell books. They'll be one of the first ones to get the book from me personally autographed.
Right on. And, not to... the message to the youngsters is definitely, you don't glorify your past at all. You're teaching the youngsters and everybody out there, your experiences and kind of what you went through and what not to do.
Yeah. Selling dope is for dummies. No disrespect to the brothers out there trying to get their paper right now. I understand. But what I learned is that I was thrown in the drug business for lack of knowledge. I didn't really know nothing else to do. I had put limits on myself, and and it's funny, you know, you work so hard to build up this thing that really can't last, you know, because the government has more resources, more people, and it's only a matter of time before they figure you out. Had I been taking that same energy and went and worked at McDonald's and been flipping fries, you know, now I know I should have went to McDonald's and paid the manager to hire me, because I know that I would have took over the whole McDonald's after a while until I would have owned it, you know, with my work ethic and my determination. So when I sit back and I looked at my life, I was like, wow, you wasted a lot of time selling cocaine. Yeah, you made some money. Luckily, though, that I'm who I am, and that I was able to say, okay, let me take that negative and turn it into a positive. You know, you give me lemons, I'm gonna make lemonade. So I took all of that stereotype that I had from selling drugs, and I flipped it into what I'm doing right now. Before I left prison, you know, I told you I went to prison illiterate, but before I got out of prison, I've read over 300 books. I'm reading books right now. Again, I haven't been reading books since I've been home because it's been rough, you know, keeping the bills paid. Haven't been easy. You know, I ain't had a job since I've been home, and I'm off paper too. So I got off paper with no job.
Yeah.
You know, my PO, he stayed on me about not having a job, but I knew that I couldn't be a real entrepreneur without with a job. You know, I couldn't be working a job and be a real entrepreneur. So just for the record, I ain't had a job since I've been home. You know what I'm saying? I've been working for myself the whole time, flipping my books, flipping my T-shirts, speaking engagements, and so forth. So that's what it is.
So if people want to get, you know, your new book or the one before that, or
they can go to my website, Freeway, R-I-C-K-Y, FreewayRickyRoss.com and get the book. FreewayRickyRoss.com. I got so many websites, sometimes I get mixed up. All them websites, emails, and all that stuff. I don't know how y'all do it. I'm learning, though.
Real quick, back to the Rick Ross thing. Do you feel like
again?
We
gotta talk about him again.
Do you feel like Rick Ross taking your name helped you out any?
Oh man, absolutely. You know, when he did the article in Rolling Stone magazine when his album came out, you know, we stole that article. You know, in the whole article, they just kept asking him about me. You know,
yeah.
Well, what about Ricky Ross, the drug dealer, and how do you feel about him? And when I looked at the article, I was like, man, this is almost like this is my article. You know, they paid all that money to get him on the front page of the article for them to talk about me for free.
Yeah.
So absolutely, he's helped me. Every time he puts out a record, my Google searches go up. You know, because people want to know where he get his name from, why he named himself Rick Ross. You know, and now with the doc being on Netflix and everybody watching that, and you know, my social media has been growing like crazy. Movie getting ready to come out, TV series. I'm punishing them. They're gonna hear about it.
So TV series, it's Snow. Is that about you?
Yeah, they jacked me. John, tell the truth. John, tell the truth, man. Let him know, John.
I know.
He don't want to cut no check either, man. They cold on the pimp. Yeah. They don't want no pimp to get a check, man. Y'all let a pimp get a check too, man.
Yeah, well, hopefully some of these guys, you know, look out. And
they don't have to, man. I look out for myself. You know, they ask me all the time, man, how they treating you? I said, man, I don't let them treat me. I treat myself.
That's funny.
You know, you can't let nobody else treat you. They gonna treat you bad.
I think
who want to see you doing good?
I think the only one that got paid from Rick Ross was Vlad.
Vlad got paid. There's been a few people that got him. The other guy got him for using that Teflon. Was it Teflon Don? Mastermind. They hit him for that one too. He done got hit a few times because you know he been hitting old he didn't test a whole lot of them, man. He shake a cage. You know, he'll shake your cage and see what you're working with. So, I mean, I done heard him bit off so many songs and people names and you know, the Larry Hoover Big Meats.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he's an intellectual thief, if there's ever been one.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of Larry Hoover, you think Larry Hoover will get out?
I hope so. You know, I like Larry.
Yeah.
You know, I like his mentality, and I think that he's the one that could bring peace to Chicago.
I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. I was discussing that with I have a good friend from that area, and I said, if they could get Larry Hoover out of prison, I bet you the homicide rate in Chicago would come down significantly. I think he could bring peace. I think he could, you know, he could kind of, you know, I know Big U's done a lot for South Central LA and gangs, and I think he could almost kind of be like that, the Big U of Chicago. And
no doubt, no doubt.
I think that. So
I agree. I totally agree. And matter of fact, you know, they're doing a petition right now for Larry. To petition Trump to do something for him, because he's been in ADX, man, for like 25 years, you know, in solitary confinement. So that's enough to drive somebody crazy there. But I heard he's in general population now, and he's doing well. I might be helping with Larry's book too, so I ain't gonna tell y'all. Y'all don't know, but Larry's book might be coming out as well, and I got my hands. Yeah, I got my hands in the cookie jar.
well, Kanye West, if you're watching this, man, help us out with Larry Hoover, man. So,
yeah, no doubt. I heard Kanye's been lifting a hand in that situation. So hopefully he continues. Hopefully Trump will do something right, man. Keep shutting down the government and all that crazy stuff.
If there's one thing you want our viewers to know about Rick Ross, what would it be?
I'm cool, man.
You good? You cool?
I'm good, man. And you can be good too. Anybody can be good. You just got to put it in your mind that you all right.
Yeah.
And once you put it in your mind that you good, and understand that good is not having a lot of money, a big car, or those things are just outside, superficial things, man. You know, you got to come from the inside. You got to feel good about yourself from the inside, and once you do that, I mean, you know, I started tripping when I was in jail, right? I started saying stuff like, damn, I'm good. I'm like, fool, you in jail. You good in jail? And then I start finding myself saying, man, I wish I had more time in jail, wanting more time when everybody else was going. Man, I hope this time hurry up and pass. But me, I saw the benefit in the time, and I was like, man, if I had another day or two, I could finish this book. And I can even remember when I got ready to get out of prison, I was like, wow, I ain't gonna get to finish this last book. I'm only gonna read half of this one, and I'm gonna be out. So, you know, I totally enjoyed my last weeks in prison, and I told myself like this, I said, enjoy these last weeks, because you ain't gonna never get to do this again. You won't be able to go back to prison. And now they don't even like to let me go in and speak.
You might give them too much knowledge, Rick.
Man, they better stop them books. They better stop them books.
Well, hey, man, we want to thank you very much for coming out today and, you know, spending some time with us, man. I know you're a busy guy, and we really appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah, I could have been putting in a transmission today.
Well,
I had a good time. Thank you, man.
No, thank you, man.
It was interesting, and looked like I got me a new friend.
Yes, we do, man.
You know, I got a fighter too, man. Y'all be looking out for my boy, Chris Lovejoy. You know what I'm saying? Fighting out of Las Vegas and Los Angeles. I got another kid, Juan, out of Toledo, Ohio. So I got my hands all running a few things. You know, I got my artists coming out from York, Pennsylvania. Not cool. You know, we making some moves, man. Y'all be looking out for us. You know what I'm saying? Getting ready to go to Paris on the 14th. So if y'all over there in Paris and you see this video, let them know that your boy gonna be there on the 14th through the 19th at the Fashion Week. They finna dress me all up and stuff, man. I ain't gonna get to wear my Levi's no more. You know, pretty soon I ain't gonna get to wear Levi's no more. I'm gonna be like, damn, I can't wear Levi's no more, y'all. Y'all doing me like that. Y'all, they put me out of jail. You know what I'm saying? They won't let me go back and see the homies. And next they're gonna be telling me I can't wear Levi's no more, man. What the world coming to? I'm out of here. Thank you. What up, y'all? This your man Freeway Rick Ross, and you watching Urban City TV.